So for this particular recipe, I use black beans. I always try to start the beans from scratch, from being dried. This is 1 measured cup of dried, soaked overnight, and then drain, rinse that water off, add fresh water, a little bit of salt, and boil them for roughly 45 minutes to an hour till they're done. Then I drain them really well and let them sit, for a few hours to dry out. And now I'll mash them and get the spices going. Hello. So for the spices that we're going to put in the burrito mix, we have 1 tablespoon of cumin seed, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika that I got in Barcelona to die for, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom. Okay, so we're going to dry roast that, meaning there's not going to be anything in the pan, just a dry non-stick pan is better, but it doesn't have to be. And we'll roast that at about, out of 10, we'll put it on 3 and keep an eye to it. Okay. When you notice, I can put a timer on it, I guess, just to as a base. So yeah, I just do a visual thing and a smell. If you start to smell like the cumin toasting, take it off. Right? It's still not finished cooking. It's still not stopped cooking because there's heat in the pan. It'll still continue to cook. And once you've burnt this, is garbage, right? So anyway, keep an eye to it. Shift it around a little tiny bit, and I'll get back to you now when it's done. Okay, so I've toasted this for on 3, like I said, between 1 and 10. I put it on 3. Keep an eye to it. Shift it around, and you can see how the coriander is browned up nicely, right? And you could just start to smell the spices and smell the cumin. If you don't have cumin seeds, use ground cumin. I like the seeds because you tend to get a little nugget of cumin in the middle of it all, and that's never a bad thing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is move this back a little tiny bit. Yeah. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I like to put it in a mortar and pestle and grind it up, just to grind the seeds up a bit, not to a powder, but just a little tiny bit, and blend it a bit. Or if I make garam masala, and it's a bigger batch, so I have a coffee grinder that's exclusive to spices. No coffee's ever been in here, and that's good too if you're doing stuff in large batches. But today, for today's purposes, we're going to put that in the mortar and pestle. Now, what does that look like? It's going to go everywhere. Hang on. Here we go. So I'll just kind of feed it in there. To help it, doesn't really need any help. Oopsie daisy, to grind, sorry. Put a little bit of salt in it to just add a tiny bit of grit that will help it grind up better. Okay, so then all you do is it grinds really easy because now that it's toasted, right? So just do that, loosely do it. Still see a bit of the bits and bobs of the cumin seed, and that's good. That's good to go. Okay? Alright. So I've got the beans all mashed up. I just use a regular potato masher. I'll leave that there because I will incorporate the spice mixture. So I'm heating up a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. When that heats, I'm going to add to that 1 large onion that's finely chopped, 2 large garlic chopped, and 2 celery sticks that are chopped. And yeah, so this should be not quite. Let that warm up a bit. Okay. I'll brown it. So I'll just put it right now like that. Ooh. Dry away garlic. There we go. Okay, so I'll fry that up. A bit of salt. Pepper. Gotta have salt and pepper and everything. Go easy on salt though. You can always add more salt later. You cannot take it out. Okay, so that's good. Come on. So this recipe, a friend of mine that I used to work with at Stella's restaurant asked would I post a black bean burrito. It was one of the favorites down at Stella's, and this is, whether this is exactly like it was, I don't remember, but this is loosely based on that recipe, and I just kind of did a few things myself with it. I'll show off a little bit and start flipping the pan and all that stuff, but I don't want to make a mess. This would be the day it wouldn't work for me. Maybe after. Okay. Let that. Don't brown it, you know. I had the heat up to just get it started there, but I don't like brownie bits in it, so turn it back a bit. And so we'll slowly fry that till we're ready to add the spice. So this is getting to be the consistency I want it. Just sweat them a little bit. And then the spices that I ground up in the mortar and pestle, I'm going to add them to that. What the hell? Just keep that going. I'll have this all over the place now. See? Woohoo! Pan's too small for the amount of what I have in there. Sure. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yeehaw. So fry that up a bit. Let me tidy this up. I don't like that. One moment. Get that up in there. There we go. Make that cook up a little bit. That is not enough oil. Let's add another little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is not going to show you. So again, and you'll notice that the onions aren't completely cooked through or anything like that, but that's okay. I've put the beans on a low heat to warm them up. So now I'm going to add this to the beans. Okay, turn this off. Beep. Boom. I love the smell of cumin. So now I'm going to mash that into there, okay? I know this looks weird. Be patient. Believe you me, this is a delicious burrito. Well, I think so. You might. Let me know if you try to make it. Okay, and then to add a bit of moisture, I'm going to add a bit of the salsa that I made previous. You can get that recipe. This will go on the top too, but this is lovely. I did a video on this too, as well. Chunky salsa. Mash that in. This looks simple, but it's really nice. Really, really nice. Add a little drop of water to that, just to make it creamy. And then I'll turn the heat up a little tiny bit. And so now I'm going to finish cooking the onions and the garlic and the celery in this mixture. And again, I'm going to leave this masher there because I'll have another go at it when it heats up another little bit. All right. Okay, so I let them stew up a bit, and I mush them because bean burritos are supposed to be a little mushy. Try to get, you're going to get the odd bean there, but for the most part, this is the consistency you're looking for. So I'll leave that on for another little bit to let it dry, and then I will prepare the burrito and put it in the oven. So now we're going to assemble the burritos. I have a, what's that? I don't know the size of these. These are the big flour tortillas. So there's two ways we can do this, but I'm going to only do it one way today. We could take some of the extra old cheddar I have grated there, put it inside, put the bean mixture on top, roll it up, fry it in a little bit of oil on top of the stove in a pan, or we can do it this way. So this is the way that I'm used to. I worked at Stella's and I worked at the Continental Cafe. I was in university, and this is how we did it there. And I like it still to this day. So on top of that, some cheese, extra old white cheddar. Can't beat it. Oopsie daisy. I think you got the lion's share there, buddy. Get out of it. All right, let's spread this out a bit. And I have the oven preheated to 375, and then we'll bake that. I like to bake it slow and long, so it doesn't just melt the cheese. It browns it and toasts up the tortillas and stuff like that. Okay, so in the oven you go. And here's the finished product with ooey gooey cheese crispied up. And I like to top this off with a bit of my salsa. That's also on my channel. Tomato salsa with fresh cilantro and sour cream. Get there. Yeah. There you go. Enjoy. Hope you enjoy it. It's delicious.